All right, here on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network, I'm at a dilemma, folks. I'm at a dilemma whether to go back to Starbucks. Because as the news continues to unfold with this awful attack on Israel, Starbucks is trying to do its best to distance itself from its workers and the workers' union, the Starbucks Workers' Union, who basically said they expressed solidarity with Palestine after Hamas terrorists massacred more than 1,200 Israelis. This actually triggered a call to boycott the coffee giant because the controversial Post liked a tweet by one of its members saying, once again, free Palestine. Meaning that one worker that they supported probably liked the fact that Hamas committed this attack. And though Starbucks is spinning its wheels to distance itself, do we want to face 16,000 baristas now and wonder, hey, do you support what Hamas did in order to free Palestine, or do you not? It's a question that shouldn't even have to be asked, okay? And while the union president, Mary Kay Henry, did issue a statement to the New York Post later in the day after the Post reached out, which was fairly commendable, she said, the violence in Israel and Palestine is unconscionable. SEIU stands with all who are suffering, strongly condemning anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and hate in all forms. I pray for a swift resolution and a future where all in the region can be happy, safe, and live with dignity. Pretty good answer. But again, is it worth looking at a barista in the eye as a Jewish person and saying, do you believe in a Jewish person's right to exist, or do you think the Free Palestine movement should support Hamas? Because when you're chanting "Gas the Jews," like many have on the streets of New York under the guise of Free Palestine and protect the innocent, when you, under the guise of protect civilians, basically tell Israel not to defend itself, President Biden, are you truly in support of Israel? I ask that of the Biden administration. Because, see, here's the situation. We now have Israel, who wants to defend itself, who probably will go into the ground war, who has actually killed those in charge of this attack who planned it. Another Hamas commander is dead today, which is great. But underneath it all, underneath the I Stand With Israel support that Biden's been saying, in the phone calls he's had with Netanyahu, apparently, they've told him, hey, be careful how you react. Don't kill civilians. And we know Hamas does hide behind human shields, right? And we do know that the only way to get to the terrorists is through precision. And that's what I'm praying the Biden administration can do, that Israel can do right now, is precision, so that no casualties are lost. I have no issue with the majority of Palestinian people that just want to live and exist and not deal with this bull crap. But when you say free Palestine, but not condemn Hamas, that's where my problem is. That's where my problem is. And no, I don't think every barista is for Hamas. I don't believe that. But I would like more union members to speak up now and talk about supporting Israel, condemning Hamas. You may not support Israel, but damn it, condemn Hamas at least. Condemn Hamas, at least. Anyway, I just am in a dilemma because I don't know what Dunkin' Donuts' stand is, and I appreciate that Starbucks is trying its best to distance itself. But if that's the case, then fire the people you know are on record as supporting the terror organization known as Hamas. Fire them. Don't just issue statements. Take action. It'll look better on you than a statement saying we condemn the terrorism. Great. Now fire the people who don't. Because the attitude of Free Palestine, once again, that doesn't show me any sympathy towards the Israelis who've been killed and slaughtered and taken hostage. That shows more, yeah, I'm glad it happened. And if there are people that work at Starbucks that are glad what happened last Friday into Saturday happened, they need to be fired, Starbucks. They need to be fired pronto. Or you might lose my business. Because, see, it's different when you separate yourself from the workers. Take action against the workers that have really been saying, once again, Free Palestine. Because that's not what they actually mean. They mean, and I hate to say this term, they mean to think that the Jews should be killed. That's how I feel about it. That's how passionate I am about this. And if you agree or disagree or think I should not boycott Starbucks, let me know. Alex@alexgnyc.com. I'll post a link in the description below. In addition to my other interviews, which is actually concerning love languages during wartime and how Roll of Love Dice by Paul Zolman could be an impactful game changer to conflict in not only wartime, but in our own lives. That link is posted below, as is my conversation with Queens College alumnus Brian Friedman. He's getting the Greater New York Sandlot Alliance Association award for Coach of the Year at John Jay Campus. We'll get into that in the Sports Spotlight. That link can be found below. And, of course, Terminello's Take, another Sports Spotlight on what's going on in the NLCS, ALCS preview world, and the NFL, and more. So, click all those links below, and would love to interact with me. Would love you to interact with me. Alex@alexgnyc.com. Alex@alexgnyc.com. But should Starbucks have a one leg up on their employees that voice support for Palestine but don't condemn the terrorism? Should they have one leg up on them and fire them? And if they don't fire them, how do we, the consumer, react? I think we boycott if those workers that speak out in favor of a free Palestine, but not against the terror, and still have a job and an apron tomorrow. No matter how many statements can be issued, it's inexcusable that the tone of Free Palestine doesn't just mean Free Palestine. And Starbucks better realize that, or they will lose customers of all ethnicity, by the way, if they don't take action on the employees speaking out in favor of a Free Palestine, a.k.a. Hamas should do it again type of thing. That's how I feel these people who say Free Palestine and say protect the Palestinian people believe. Because by not protecting Israel and by protecting the Palestinian people, they mean don't react, Israel, to the terror you've just had. And then one last thing before I sign off for today on the One Leg Up podcast. One last thing. As you know, I grew up around the United Nations, so when I saw this story of images being projected on the UN here in New York City of kidnapped victims, I thought it was a good thing that someone post up on the UN, who I've said on this podcast before, do absolutely nothing for Israel, wake them the F up. Wake them up. The UN should know what's going on. That Hamas is ISIS. A group of Israeli Americans, the story written by Megan Palin says, A group of Israeli Americans has claimed responsibility for the unsolicited series of projections that appeared on the United Nations last week showing children and elderly victims kidnapped by Hamas. Or Waknin, the leader of the group, told the Post that about 10 families here in New York have ties to Israel, or 10 New Yorkers with ties to Israel worked with the hostages' families to make the video and showcase it for the world to see. He said there's a lot of misinformation justifying what happened. The footage features the names and photos of some victims, including a 9-month-old baby and an elderly woman, among the 100 Israelis kidnapped by Hamas. So I applaud them. Why can't we read the victims' names like we read on 9/11? What's the difference here? Why can't we stand in support of Israel? Why can't we say the names? Well, I think we can, and we should. Because the hashtag never forget, it feels so applicable here. And the hashtag never again feels so applicable here. Never again should Jews and the Jewish people feel targeted and feel worried and afraid to walk out of their house. Never again should a Jewish person feel that. And America better stand by those Jews who are really afraid right now, and all Jews, of course, and stand by the state of Israel and not tell them to tone it down when they retaliate against Hamas. Don't kill civilians. Why are you lecturing? Israel is precise. The IDF is damn good. I don't know how this slipped through the cracks at all, because the IDF is actually more advanced than many people realize. So, if I'm Joe Biden, I'd just sit down and let Israel take care of themselves. Yeah, the support is great, but at the end of the day, don't tell them, hey, watch out for civilians. You think the Israelis don't know that? And I do pray that the 2 million that don't have heat or water right now do get that restored, or power do get that restored, because they do need that to exist. While the Israeli forces go in and try and kill these Hamas commanders, and they seem like they're doing a precise job with it. Thanks be to God. And then one last note here. I did do a little bit of a song in hope that it can bring us closer to spiritually being united, spiritual harmony, godly harmony. And I want to play you, and I'm sorry if you don't like the singing, but I want to play you something from just yesterday. And I'm not a cantor, but I felt called to do this, and maybe singing this will bring some peace to the world and to that region, because we need it. Oh come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, who mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Boom. And there you go. I'm Alex Garrett. There's got to be an upside to all of this. And find out how you can get your own upside in the daily life with all the links below here on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network's edition of One Leg Up.